Like the incredible art he creates, DAP The Contract is intelligent, thoughtful, witty, funny, wicked smart, human, and so full of wisdom. In this conversation, we get into all the things, from family and community, to the power of consistency, the power of intentionality, the tactical mindset that is required to build a career that is primed for longevity and impact, and the importance of striving to prioritize mental health. DAP, or DAP to me, is a force, and I thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with him. And I hope that you enjoy it too. But more importantly, I hope that you are served by it in whatever it is that you are aspiring to, or whatever it is that you are working towards. And I hope that it encourages you to stick with it, to keep at it, to keep going, and to believe in yourself just a little more. This is one conversation that you might want to grab a pen and paper for. Welcome to the multi-hyphenates with Immanuel. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the multi-hyphenates with Immanuel. I am your host, Immanuel, and I have a very exciting episode today, and my guest today has me very excited. I say that for every episode, but it's true. I have to tell the truth. I'm nothing if not honest. And my guest today really is it's so exciting. And as always, I'm going to let my guest introduce himself, as is part of the course on this show. But DAP The Contract, thank you so much for being here.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
This is so exciting. And I'm going to say something really quickly. So this interview is testament to the power of shooting your shot in the pursuit of your goals. So I have followed DAP on social media and Instagram for a couple of years, but I'd never spoken to him. I'd never even DM'd him or anything about his work or whatever. And I'm at a party in New York City last week.
Shout out everyday people.
Shout out everyday people. And I see DAP. I see him and I'm walking past and I'm like, wait, is that DAP The Contract? I'm like, no, come on. And I walked by him again and it was him. And I went up to him and I just said, hey, I don't even remember what I said, DAP. I was just so
cool.
Yeah, I was just...
your music. I had a feeling this was you standing in the 6 foot album.
I was just so excited. I was so excited and I went and I said, hey, would you be willing to do this? And I told him I'll send him a DM, sent him a DM, and he was just so receptive and so generous with his time. And now here we are. So, and DAP, I don't think I told you this, but I actually, when I was thinking about this series, I had written your name. I had written all the guests I wanted, just the guests I would love to speak with. Yeah. And your name was there. But I had forgotten, and I read this list probably earlier in the year or if not late last year. Yeah. And I was just going through my notes yesterday and I saw it, that your name was on there. And I just had, my mind was blown because
it was a full circle moment for real. Man.
Such a full circle moment. So thank you so much. You're making my dreams come true. Oh, so thank you.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so now that everybody has the backstory, tell us, who is DAP The Contract? Introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers.
Yeah, so my name is DAP. I go by DAP or DAP The Contract. I'm born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria. I come from a very musical family, so I've been playing the piano since I was 4 years old. It's where music started for me, and grew up listening to all varieties of genres, anything from indie, folk, Afrobeat, high life, house, soul, R&B, rap, everything across the board. Classical music is where it started from. I went to boarding school in the UK when I was 14. When I was 10, but I started producing at 14 in high school. I fell in love with hip hop and then started producing and not finding enough people to get on my songs. So when I hit 17, I was like, you know what? As a classics major, I studied Latin and Greek in high school. And I fell in love with poetry and rhythm and and prose as well, just writing and storytelling in particular. So I said, okay, I have some of this knowledge. I just need to actually just start the work because I saw what 10 years of piano playing did for me at age 14 already. So I know the long-term mentality that if I put the work in, I'll get there. So I was okay, let me start writing my rubbish bars now and they'll get better slowly. So I put out my first mixtape at 18 and then the mixtape that really changed my life was my third. I hope nobody finds the first two, but sure. My third, called Goodbye.
Now I'm going to look. Now I'm going to look for it.
I don't think. I mean, if you find them, tell me, because I need to go scrub the internet. I'm pretty sure they're not out there. But Goodbye for Never. I dropped that in 2014 when I was in college in the US. I came to college in the US after high school in London, and that's where everything really took off and changed from there. And since then, I guess the other important thing at this early stage of the interview is to say I'm also a full-time lawyer. So after college, I went to law school and I just got sworn into the New York bar in April. So I'm currently a full-time lawyer as well. Thank you.
I love how you said it so casually. I'm just something to throw in there, but also like a full-time attorney. This is a huge deal. And for people who don't
I'm not even trying to flex.
Listen, hello, I will flex for you. Don't worry about it. I will flex for you. For people who don't have like the New York bar is perhaps one of the most prestigious bars in the United States, if not the world, just to get into, to be a part of. And Dap did this. You went to Columbia University as well. Yeah. So this is interesting. Columbia I think Law. You are the Columbia Law. You are
Brown University for undergrad.
Okay, Brown for undergrad. Fun fact, you are the third Columbia alum I'm interviewing for this
Really?
series. The third, yeah.
Good company.
I guess it's and I guess my sister also went to Columbia, so I guess the energy is just looming around me. But so recap, musical wonderkins, literally from age 4, and I think you skipped over the part where you attained some huge musical feats by like 8 for piano playing.
It wasn't by 8; it was by 13. I did grade 8 piano when I was. I got my grade 8 distinction when I was 13. Then I got my performance diploma when I was 17.
Wow.
DIP ABRSM performance diploma. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So again, like I said, just musical wonderkind, incredibly talented musical artist, producer, and also a lawyer. And what you guys don't know is, or what you all don't know is, right before we started, Dap was like, yeah, I'm actually working today because I have this big thing to deliver to a client tomorrow. Meanwhile, he's promoting music that has just come out. So we are actually seeing this man in the thick of what it means to be a multi-hyphenate and wear multiple hats. And again, I'm just so glad that you're here. So let's talk about this. So music, from what you said, music was always a constant. Music was always there, right? So from 4, music was always there. Huge musical family, which we're going to go back and talk about in a bit. But so music was always there. When did the law thing happen?
The law thing came about in college because as my career started picking up, I started seeing, it was 2 things. First of all, I started seeing contracts because people started showing interest, and I started being like, first of all, I don't really know what this means because it's very legally and complicated concepts in these contracts, but also they just didn't seem fair initially. Like it already rubbed me the wrong way initially. Then having learned from other people's mistakes and hearing countless artists talk about labels and losing their creative control and being screwed over and not getting any money and blah, 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 that was always in the back of my mind. And the other side of it was being a classics major, studying Latin. My major at Brown was Latin and Greek. So you didn't become a classics teacher or going to some kind of research.
Law school.
It's more limited. So the other options apart from that is they always say classics is a versatile degree. You can use it for anything, like going to finance, going to law, whatever. So law made the most sense for me because I noticed, okay, contracting is going to be a heavy thing in this industry and I need to watch my back. So that was how it started. That was the small vision. But as I kept going along and seeing Afrobeat take off more globally, because we already know what it was, but globally it started picking up around 15, 16 probably. Drake and Wiz, One Dance, etc., and it sort of picked up steam. But I started noticing my friends and peers who I grew up with in Nigeria start signing to the West African imprint of this major label, Sony West Africa, Universal West Africa, this Columbia West Africa. And one by one, just start complaining about the same things: creative control, ownership, their masters and publishing. And I was just like, man, I have the privilege of having, been told this from people in my family, paid attention to other artists, but I have a lot of money and resources the way I grew up. So I'm trying to set up an entertainment practice one day in Nigeria. Hopefully, this is a dream, hopefully to help like protect our artists and not only protect them from the labels, like the labels are the bad guys. It's both parties, there's a way to make both parties profit from the situation.
Yes.
It's just this archaic system needs to be changed. So that's why I decided, okay, I need to go to law school to understand my own contracts, but also be able to help my peers and also get a job and get a salary so I can eat. And hopefully if I get a good enough job, which I think I did, then I'll have enough surplus that I can invest in my music myself and be my own record label. Because the record label is like your bank. So that's kind of the finesse, but it's a lot easier said than done because music is expensive. So spending my whole salary, I'm supposed to be living off saving for the future and college for future kids, etc., etc. I'm putting it into my music, you know, so it's a tough game, but that's the way I decided to go about it. That's how I ended up in law school.
Oh, you essentially became a lawyer. One dream that sort of serves another dream.
Exactly.
That is so cool. Did you enjoy yes, that's the hyphen. So did you feel like that helped? Because, you know, oftentimes people would say, find your why. Like, what's your why? Why are you doing it? Do you feel like that gave you the energy or the fuel that you needed to keep going on days when law school was just a pain?
That's exactly how I'm still getting through Sunday, working 8 hours on a Sunday, is because I can always think to myself, okay, everyone else, all the associates at this firm are doing this probably because maybe they're passionate about the law, but how many people are really passionate about the law? You know, really, you need the money to survive. You need a job. That's what you liked in school. That's why you ended up, right? But I know in the back of my head that there's always forward motion because I'm going towards something.
Yes.
Like I'm seeking out specific information and proper legal training in a certain space so I can take that value and put it into something else to help other people in this way. So that motivation, like the days when I'm hating work and I'm on a deal that's not media related and not interesting to me, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I can always click back and be like, all right, this isn't the end goal. So,
and this is why I'm doing it.
Moving forward, don't get stuck here. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah. So, in other words, in another way of saying it, I guess what drives you is this visualization. Let's talk about that. Are you big on visualization, like seeing? And in the pursuit of an objective or a goal, I've sometimes read and heard people say visualizing is a very powerful tool. And that's kind of what I'm hearing you say. Yeah. So do you do that a lot? Because you visualize like a career, right? As a lawyer, you're like entertainment practice. You have an idea of what that might look like. Do you do that for like your music as well, and like every other part of yourself?
What, in terms of visualization, you mean like not putting things on like a chalkboard type thing, or do you mean just thinking it through in my head and like I see the steps kind of thing?
Yes, like I guess different people do it different ways, but like, are you very sort of what's the end goal oriented? You know, like some people are just like day to day, but are you visualizing? Like, is there a version of DAP that you are aspiring to, that you see that keeps you going?
Absolutely, yeah. The goal is to take the stairs. I always use this phrase, I'd rather take the stairs than the elevator, right? So I don't want, as quick as people go up, they often come down just as quickly. A lot of artists have mental health issues because that fall, once you've gone up so quickly, is something no one else can experience around you. That, like, no one can really coach you through that. It's a long way to fall down when you blow up off a gimmicky song and then no one cares anymore, you know? So I always wanted to go step by step and try each thing out as I went, because I'm very protective. So I didn't want to jump into a label deal. I'd rather start with what I have now, which is a distribution deal, see what that works like, understand that, and then get into, okay, if I get a publishing deal and I actually give up some of my publishing, what am I getting for that sacrifice, you know, before I then get to masters and, you know, giving up more and more and more. So I'd rather do it in stages, right?
Yes.
But I think in terms of visualization, one of my favorite artists is Ab-Soul, and he has a series called Long-Term Mentality. I think it's called Long-Term, and one of the 3 in the series is called Long-Term Mentality. That's one of my favorite projects. And I think I get that from having played the piano for so long, from the age of 4. And I saw how much I improved to age 8, to age 10, to 14. And then starting producing then and seeing how much I improved to age 17, to 20, 21, to 24. So I know that with time and hard work, I'll get there eventually. A lot of people don't get to their destination because they give up. It's not because other people are better than them or smarter than them. They just didn't stick to it, you know? So the end goal is to own my master's in publishing, not necessarily be independent, because the machine helps sometimes. If I can partner with a label and show them that I can justify keeping my master's in publishing, and it'll still be a profitable relationship for both of us, that's the goal. And these are the steps I'm taking to get there, so I can understand all the legalese and the different ways you can put this relationship together, and also have spent this much time independently, filming my own videos, producing everything, writing, recording everything, booking my own shows, replying to my own emails, pitching emails to playlisters and everything. Like, I do that damn near solely by myself up until this year, when I'm now like started working with management and taking that step, like trying to trust someone again, because I've done that before and it didn't work. I'm trying to now get back to, let me trust someone with my work. So, and
with your vision.
Yeah, that's how I visualize it. And the same with music. I know, like, I try to stay a year and a half ahead. So while I'm promoting this project, I'm not even going to say too much about stuff, but I'm already in 2022 in the fall. Like, I'm putting things together for that now. So I'm always trying to move with a long-term mentality, for sure.
I want to dig deeper into this idea of a long-term mentality, because when you said it in your introduction, it really stuck with me, right? How you were like, I'm just going to start putting out music and dealing with whatever rubbish bars now,
figure out the
so that I can, But I think that's something that is missing, just that patience for a lot of people, myself included some days, right? The idea that it's okay, like just really taking the stairs, like you say. So you had practical, real life, like, bro, when I started playing the piano, I wasn't as good. I kept doing it. Look how good I am now. But what other things do you do, or what tactical things do you do on a day-to-day to remind yourself of the importance of patience and the importance of that consistent grind and just patience and really the long-term mentality?
Yeah, one of the things I definitely do, like, actually every day, is watch interviews. Like, I'm an interview head. So,
me too.
So I can quote Breakfast Club interviews from 2011. For this artist, I can quote from 2016 on Big Boy, Sway, and I forget the guy's name at BBC. Is it BBC or Apple Music? Sorry,
Zane Lowe,
Ebro, Nadeska, like all the different interviewers, even all the new ones in the podcast, like the Nick Cannon, like all the different interviewers. I watch interviews all day long. And I do that because you can express a lot of who you are and the point you're trying to get across in your music, your videography, whatever art form you're in. But I think being able to sit down and talk about it shows a different side of your personality. And that's the part that gets muddied with fame and celebrity.
Yes.
Right. That's where you get in trouble. That's where, most of your issues stem from those interviews, what you say in those spaces. So that's one of the things that helps me remember that I didn't want to blow up at 21, because the things that I might have said, the positions I might have taken on things and said them confidently in an interview might have been completely wrong. I didn't have enough experience at that time, and then getting to 25 and thinking I'm 75 when I'm everyone around 25 thinks they're now old. And I'm like, you're 28 now, and looking back, I probably wasn't ready then either. I was 25, I was my first year in law school, or my second year in law school, something like that. So I don't know, I feel like patience, watching other artists grow, watching the 17-year-olds do interviews and then clicking to the next interview and it's a 40-year-old. You can see the difference in the maturity and the understanding. But you can also watch someone like G Herbo, for example, out of Chicago, who's 25. But his interviews, he speaks like he's 45.
Yes.
Because he has the experience, he has the wherewithal, he's been through enough things that he's had to level up and mature to stay alive, literally, in his situation, So that's one of the daily things I do that keeps me patient. It reminds me that everyone's timing is different. One of the times I specifically remember feeling like that is a DJ Khaled interview. I think it was the interview when he was on, this is right after the Snapchat thing went crazy and he blew up on a different level. And he did Hot 97 with Ebro. And that was the first time he'd really been mad and said, give me my flowers, and really talked his, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that interview, I mentioned that because I remember him saying, I'm 30, he was 37 at that time. and he's now blowing up to this different degree. Like, and look at where he is now, winning Grammys, dropping #1 albums with multiple songs from Drake, Jay-Z, and Nas on a song. Like, Khaled's been here for 30 years, damn near. You know what I mean? So like, I think patience is just that you need the different things to remind you that it's not a race. Everyone's timing is different. And then that's one of the things, interviews definitely helps me stay on track with that.
And you've kind of preempted a question that I was thinking of at the beginning of our conversation, which is, you're in the music industry. And I think a big part of being in the music industry is blowing, right? So everybody wants to blow. And you've had some pretty high moments. Like you had the recording contract or recording thing at Abbey Road Studios with Mark Ronson, I believe. You've had some big moments. Like you've opened at Native Land. You've done some things. And so I guess just from a human perspective, are you ever like, this thing should have clicked bigger than this by now? Right. So, but I guess, and I don't want to just assume that because you're watching these interviews, it tempers that, but maybe it tempers it. But so talk to me about that. Like, how are you able to kind of remind yourself that, okay, one, I want to take the stairs. And two, on days when you're like, I've been doing this for a while, right? Why hasn't XYZ happened yet? How do you deal with that? Because I think with people who are building anything, creatives of any kind, whatever industry you work in, there's something, and the days when you're just like, come on, I have the juice. So how do you deal with those days?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think it's difficult for everyone. And I find it difficult too. Like, it's hard to, you want to know what's going on contextually with everyone, your peers and everyone around you. But there's certain times when you need to put the blinders on and just not worry about, this person blew up at 21, this person blew up at 25. Like, time is ticking. There's also this thing with, especially hip hop and music generally, that it's a young person's game. So once you're 30, you have expired. We don't want to hear from you anymore. We don't want to see your shows. You just leave us alone, right? But look at Jay-Z, look at Diddy, look at X, Y, Z. There's countless numbers of people. I don't know. It's difficult. I definitely have those moments where I look at my peers, especially in Nigeria, this alter scene. I look at people and I say, not even that I'm more talented than them, but I've been probably doing this longer than them. But people come and overtake you, and this person come and overtake you. But because I've been so intentional about my steppings, as they say, I've been saying the Lord protect my steppings. So because I've been so intentional with this plan, I think it's easier for me to remember that everyone's timing is going to be different, and everyone is gonna. If there was a stage that we could say like this is equal, everyone is at this stage. Maybe some people are here, maybe they're here, I'm here, maybe. When we all get to this place, I'm going to have a very different story and very different credentials. Like,
when you're all on the same level.
I'm going to have a lot. I'm going to arrive there with a law degree, with 2 Ivy League degrees, with experience working as a full-time lawyer, with a network of lawyers and industry people I can speak to, with connections to all the gatekeepers, the playlisters, the radio personalities. I'm going to have a lot more bumps along the road. I'm gonna have, I didn't just shoot up. I'm gonna have gone through, I've seen every step of this. I've seen the technology change. I've seen CD to streams. I've seen streams to wherever we're going next. I've seen NFTs, where in 10 years, so I think that allows me to feel like I'm not wasting time and I'm not behind. I'm just putting together a different shit, because when I arrive at that destination, my foundation is gonna be different. That's what helps me kind of stick to the plan, because sometimes I want to be like, yo, I can make whatever I want. If I want to make the kind of hit that'll get me on TikTok or get me on radio, I can do that. But the reason I'm not doing it is because of this plan,
Talk your shit, Dap. Talk your shit.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? It's you need what they say on his album. Sometimes you got to do it right in front of me. You
have to remind yourself and remind these people. And I mean, there's a lot of confidence in what you're saying. And I think it comes from being a student of the game you're playing. You spent time being a student of this. I mean, you're talking, and just in listening to you, it's clear that you're not just trying to blow. Like, you're not just like...
That's not the goal.
That's not the goal. The goal is you're really a student of the game, and you're really... Talk to me about that. Like, how are you constantly educating yourself or constantly staying really at the top of your game? Like, what do you do? Because I think, especially with creative things and with matters involving talent, it can be really easy to just it's already in you, right? You're already this person. But how do you cultivate, I think, the humility, perhaps, to keep being a student of your game?
Yeah, I think definitely interviews is one place. Just hearing other artists' perspective and realizing that there's a lot of different ways to do this, and some tools are better for some than others. So I get tips from people and I'm like, okay, that's not for me. Like the trolling, that's not for me. You can keep that. But you under 20s, like that, it works, but you're gonna have to deal with the consequences of that. Maybe making a specific kind of song, the radio record. I don't really want to do that, although I can, and maybe I will. But so the interviews, definitely. I think it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think interviews help a lot for those reasons, but it also has to be a lot of just paying attention to the climate, like listening to the music. I try and listen to everything. Like any new music Friday, I've listened to all the albums that dropped. Like a couple weekends ago, it was Tyler, Goldlink, Doja Cat on the same day.
That was a big day.
You feel me? And I can list those out for you, and I know the songs I like, and I hear the switch in because people are gonna go copy that. The industry is gonna shift with the biggest artists. Like once Drake drops, sound is gonna move towards Drake a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Wiz's album is going so crazy right now. A lot of the Afrobeat is gonna shift a little that way. You know, so
and it has.
You know, so. I try and pay attention to everything. If Taylor Swift drops, I'm probably gonna try to listen to the album at least once. Maybe if it's good, I'll listen to it more. There's no reason I won't like it because it's Taylor Swift. Like music is music. So I listen to.
But you stay there.
I stay on top of everything, like the popular stuff. I mean, even though people would look at me and think that I'm on the underground finding Arlo Parks. I'm not sure if you heard it. Like. Finding those kind of people and the up and coming people, but I listen to the whole spectrum, so I have the whole information to work with. You know.
Speaking of, you know, sort of, this music is very interesting because, so like you, for example, because let's be clear, I'm certain that you're going to be a chart topper. Like I feel it. I believe it so strongly.
I get chills every time people say that to me, man.
What I mean, but you believe it, don't you? I mean,
100%. But as it's happening, it's like you couldn't have seen it that way. It still feels like complete shock when it's happening, even though I'm 100% confident in myself. But
I get that. I feel I know for a fact it's going to happen. And so there's this thing where the artists that you've been listening to and nobody else has been listening to as much, when they start blowing, you're like, this is mine. This person is my artist. But I'm just still so when you said, you know, people think you're only listening to underground stuff, it's like, no, even the underground, because they're not mainstream yet, doesn't mean they're not getting there. So that's exciting to hear. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. First of all, let's talk about this name, DAP The Contract. DAP The Contract. How did DAP The Contract come about?
This is a story. Okay, so it's funny. People think it's an interesting story, but I look at it like it's accidental to an extent, but it's perfect the way it happened. So my first name was DAP, and that stood for Dolakwa Akinkube Productions. I never wanted to be a producer. I never wanted to be a rapper. I was the shyest, most awkward kid, the nerdy kid. If I get a B grade, I'm crying. That was me as a kid. And that's still in me, right? So I love that behind the scenes position. I want to be on the side of stage while my guy is performing to 100,000 people. And I'm just by the side of the stage just listening. Because I'm going to be listening to the music. I'm not even going to be peeping that there's 100,000 people. I'm going to be there studying, right? When all my friends stopped rapping one by one, and I was like, there's no one to rap on my beats, kind of got forced into that rapper position, right? And that's when it became, and then one of my closest friends, he kept rapping for a little bit longer. So we made a duo. It was only two of us left. So we made a duo called The Contract. So that's actually a duo. And he's one of the founder of Native, one of the co-founders of Native. So I'm glad that happened. I think it was a blessing in disguise. I think he was supposed to go build that platform, and it'll all come full circle when it's supposed to. But once he stopped, I was then kind of stuck with DAP and The Contract. So I just kind of made it DAP The Contract. Put it together, and that's how I came up with it. But the reason I said like before we jumped on, people still like homies in Nigeria especially still call me DAP, like the same like DAP, like, and that feels nice because it reminds me of like, okay, they've really been here since 2006 when this really started, when I started producing. So That's
Well,
the
I'm
story.
about to start calling you. I'm about to start calling you DAP.
If I'm an EP now and I hear DAP,
Yeah.
I'll be like,
Yeah. So I can know. So I belong. What are you talking
of
about?
course.
I'll be like, yeah, no. Oh, people be like, oh, have you heard DAP The Contract? And I'll be like, oh, you mean
excuse me.
DAP?
Yeah. Maybe it's DAP to you.
Get it right. DAP to you, DAP to me. Okay, that's an interesting story. And you said something really interesting, and you said it earlier, and I want to just kind of go deeper on it.
Yeah.
You switched lanes. So you were a producer.
Yeah.
And then you made the transition to artist.
Yeah.
And I know you still produce on your records because I'm one of those people who do New Music Fridays, I'm looking at the credits.
So for example,
Doja's new album, when I heard Woman, the first track,
had to go see who that was produced by.
I could hear this Afrobeat drums, and I went there and I saw Ojiden, and I was like, I see the connection. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I still go and look. So I know you're a producer because when I listen to your music, I look and I see your name there.
Yeah.
So we switched gears. So part of being a multi-hyphenate is kind of having that confidence to be like, I want to try this. I'm going to try it. I'm going to move into a new space that's different, that's adjacent, that probably have nothing to do with it. What did you do to build your confidence? And you talked about this a bit, like just starting, but mentally, how did you get over the mental hump of, I'm a producer, I'm not an artist? How did you make that transition? How did you get yourself there?
I think, again, I just know that if you put in the work over time, you'll get there eventually, as long as it's impossible to fail if you don't quit. If you know, like you try, I forget which movie it's from. I think it's Haunted Mansion, or maybe it's like Shrek or some movie. But someone said, and this stuck with me since I saw it, they're like, you try and you fail, and you try and you fail. The only true failure is when you stop trying, right? So after I've been playing the piano for 24 years now, right?
Yeah.
I can play you most of my pieces off the top of my head, even though I haven't played the piano for a year. So just knowing, once something is so ingrained in you because you've done it so much for so long, and it's easier if you start at an earlier age, but even if you start at age 30, you can still make that happen if you put the work in. Just knowing that alone, I knew that I could get good at writing because I knew I was already obsessed with hip hop music and lyricism. I was studying Latin and Greek, so I'm always reading language and writing out the rhythm of the poetry because it has like different rhythms, like dim to dim to dim to dim or whatever this, and it all have different names like pentameter, hexameter, whatever. And that's what I would nerd out on when I was studying. So I just knew that I have a knack for poetry and prose and writing. I love storytelling and I pay attention to it enough that I'm learning just by listening to Homecoming by Kanye West. Listening to Sing About Me by Kendrick. Like I know that this storytelling is getting in my system, so I just need to keep writing, keep writing, and keep writing. The more I listened to it, I found myself appreciating the truth. So hearing about someone's life story or just Lost Ones by J. Cole, super deep stories like that. I'm like, okay, this is what captures me on the album. The hits are cool, but when I'm hearing some information, that's when I stick to it. So if I start now, thank God I realized that I need to start now because I don't have anyone to rap on these weird beats I'm making. I'm not going to stop, and I know they'll stop. I'll do this till I die. There's nothing that will stop me. So that's what carries me through most of the time. Just that knowledge that if in time I'll get there. You get there. And you've said this multiple times now, that idea of do the work. Yeah. Like the work will bear fruit. You've said it multiple times. So in addition to being an incredibly talented person, your work ethic is insane, right? Because it has to be. I mean, no to be able to. And you're a high performing, you're a lawyer in New York City. I mean, it doesn't get crazier than that. And then you are such an excellent artist. How do you cultivate your work ethic? This is always the most difficult question. Every time. See, at the beginning, I said I wanted to give practical advice that's useful instead of speaking hypothetically and theoretically and in an abstract way. But it's so hard to explain what it is without just saying, I love music so much that I can't not do it. In fact, to the point where I think if I was a full-time lawyer and not doing music, I'll find it harder to do the work. Like part of the motivation is that I know the end goal is music.
Yes.
If I didn't have that, I would just be another person stuck in this capitalistic world where we have to make money to survive and feed ourselves and our kids and our families and blah, blah, blah. But I have this thing that I would die for, literally.
Yeah.
So I think that, coupled with the fact that I come from a family of multi-hyphenates. So my mother was a piano teacher when she was pregnant with my brother, who's older than me, right? When he was born, or I think shortly before or after, she became a banker and was a banker for 20 years. So I watched my mom get up 5:30 a.m., go water her flowers in the garden. She's obsessed with gardening.
Yes.
And then play piano for a little bit and then go to work all day and come back in the evening, water her plants, play music. She's playing organ at church every Sunday or playing piano at church every Sunday, maybe Wednesday evening song. So I watched my mom do that for that long. My dad he had his own engineering company for a long time in Nigeria. And he's also an incredible photographer. I think that's where a lot of my visual acumen
comes from.
So, but he's an amazing photographer. Like some of the photographs he's taken of like the bridge in Lagos, the big bridge, like the birds at the beach, all kinds of things. Like, these are amazing photographs. But they always emphasize to me that you're not just like, nothing can stop you from doing what you want to do if you're willing to put in the work. You don't want born a genius and you're doing all of this because you're a genius and you're smarter than everybody else. It's because you put in the work. So with that said, make it make sense. You know you have to earn money because you need to eat. If you drop out of school and be a musician, sure, it can work. But those years where you're broke, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Support you forever. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, sure, do music, but it doesn't mean you have to drop out of school. So do school. But what you're doing in school, make it make sense for your music. Make it all make sense together. You're one human being. You're not a different person in your law firm than you are on stage. It's the same. You're one person.
It's still you.
But make a plan, do it intentionally, and you can make it happen. And the only part of the equation that was non-negotiable is you're gonna have to work your ass off.
Yeah.
So just knowing that, I don't have it's not even like I don't have a choice. Literally, like if I want to eat, I got to get the deal done for this client. But if I want to be a happy human being, I have to write. I have to listen to music. I have to record. I have to perform, most importantly. So it's something that I saw growing up, and I just realized and was taught that it's non-negotiable. Hard work is in whatever you're doing in life.
You know, I think that's a very important, we say this a lot, representation matters. But I think that just hearing you talk about it in that way, there's so much power as a young person, seeing your parents live multi-hyphenate lives, you know, because fun fact, I actually knew your mom before I knew you.
Really? From banking?
Money matters with Nimi.
With Nimi, cheese.
Yeah, Nimi, yeah. So I knew your mom before I knew you. And then I knew your sister.
Yeah, same thing. She's a full-time, she has a film scoring degree, but also has a business degree that she had to get before she was allowed to do that. And she's a full-time musician now. Yeah.
Yes. So exactly. So I think when I think about you, I think also just you being able to see all these multi-hyphenates from your sibling to your mother to your dad. I didn't know about your dad being a photographer. I think that is so important. And that's why I think this interview that we're having is so important for people to see that you can. And it's not just, oh, you know, I'm an artist and I do something. You are doing a really high demand. You can excel at both. And I think that is so important and so crucial and so key. And I love that you said, you know, music is like, you need to do it. You need to do it. So speak to me about, have there ever been things that you wanted to do? Because really, we've just talked about you being a musician, but really what you are is almost like a one-man image-making, artist-building machine. So you're writing the music, you're producing the music, you are, when we're talking about this a bit before we started recording, you are in charge of thinking about the rollout of the music, 100%. Down to videos, the intentionality of the colors, the videos. So you're also like, you're a filmmaker, right? You're a producer.
I'm almost at the stage where I can claim right? Director. I'm almost
creative director, like whatever names, you know, you're sort of A&Ring yourself. So you're doing all these things. Are there parts of this that you don't really enjoy, but you're just like, it needs to be done? And how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the parts that you might not enjoy as much?
First thing that comes to mind is the networking, but there's different kinds of networking, because this I love. But the networking that feels contrived, it feels like I'm only speaking to you because I need something from you, like emailing a playlister or an A&R or a publisher. Like that feels, I'm not here to play game. This is too real for me to be playing. Here's my music, like this is my life. So I'm not emailing you to please put me on this playlist. Like I'm trying to help people. That's the end goal with my music. So I need you to help me get my music out there for a good cause. And you're the conduit, in the middle of that machine, that transaction. But I don't want to talk to you just because to do this. Like I want to actually know you. I'd rather like, let's go get lunch and I'll tell you about myself and my music. And then you'll want to put me on the playlist, That part of it I don't like. It's the playing the game. Because I'm really, everything I've said is the ownership and the independence. I'm playing the game to change it and update it for the next artist coming behind me and my peers as much as I can. So that for sure is the one that I hate. But you also said like something I might not be able to do that I want to do. I'm always finding a new itch. Like right now I don't know why I know why I'm doing this, but I really don't have the capacity to do this. But I started taking online guitar lessons at Berkeley Online because I want to be able to create from that perspective. I can create on the keys.
Yeah.
You hear sounds and you come up with ideas different when it's strumming and it's that motion as opposed to this, So I want that ability. I also want to do vocal training classes. But my favorite class when I was in music college for a year was film scoring. So I want to also learn those skills. I want to also mix and learn how to mix and master properly. I'll save thousands of dollars paying an engineer to mix and master all these songs. So I'm always looking for a new itch. Like I started directing my own videos in 2018 and fell in love with video editing. So all my videos between like 2018 and 20, pretty much
you did them.
I directed and edited 95% of those videos.
Wow.
So I don't know. I like that feeling of I'm at the bottom and I have to work my way up to the top. And I'm actually passionate about it because then I'll race through those hours and I'll put in the work,
And even for when you don't enjoy it, it's like the networking piece, you still remind yourself, this is why it's important.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a bit. So having to put yourself out there, having to reach out to these people, these playlisters or, whoever these quote unquote gatekeepers, which I'm happy that term and that system seems to be dissolving a bit, slowly, but compared to like earlier in the decade, early in the early 2000s and certainly the 90s and whatnot. But the part of putting yourself out there with these people or with anything is rejection. That's always a very potent and real option and real outcome. How have you dealt with rejection in terms of your pursuits as a multi-hyphenate, whether with your degree or rather with your practice as a lawyer or your practice as a musical artist, stroke producer, stroke all of that? How do you deal with rejection?
So I'll say two things. First thing, again, just reiterating, don't quit. Like you might get 10,000 emails you've sent out with no reply. You don't even know if you got rejected. You just didn't hear back from the person. That's really frustrating. Sometimes I got replies recently. This recent project I put out, I've got responses that are like, cool song, man, I'm not sure how I feel about the drums, but I'll see if we can get it to make sense in the rotation for this radio station. From the PR company I'm working with, giving me actual feedback from people they're pitching to, right?
Yeah.
So first thing is don't quit, because you need one. You need one song to get you in the conversation. You need one response. You need to meet the one right person, That's all it's going to take. It's a lot of work behind that, but if one goes, the rest of it can follow. The other thing, which is, I'm glad you raised this, because this is why I'm so proud of this project, Powers Volume 2, that I just released. So I made this project from a European experience that I had for 7 years going to boarding school in London. I hated going to the club because they'll play house music all day, they'll play EDM, and then you get to 1 a.m. and maybe they'll play 99 Problems, they'll play Gold Digger, they'll play allow me to reintroduce myself.
My name is
and then boom, they'll go back to house. Like, okay, all for the hip hop people, you can take this to some mainstream.
These are the token hip hop songs.
Thank you. So I used to hate it. And I think because I loved hip hop so much, I couldn't love the rest of it.
Yeah.
Fast forward to having being 3 years removed from the UK, me now in college in the US. And I think the song that really did it for me was Down on My Luck by Vic Mensa. When I get down on my luck, that's a house song.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is still just music. Like, zoom out a bit, it's the same thing. But let me not ramble too much. So the point I'm trying to make is, with this project, there was no such thing as rejection because I knew I loved it. And I think that's so important to mention, because we hardly ever do the things we love. We do the things we think we need to survive. But I made this project not because I thought this one's gonna go, this one's gonna get on a playlist, this one's gonna be on radio, this one can pop and I can blow from this song. I literally was going into releasing this project like, I'm excited that some people are gonna hate this. I know some people are gonna listen to this UK garage song and be like, what the? You know that meme with Jose Mourinho and he's like taking the headphones off, like, get this off my ears. Like, I knew people were gonna feel like that, and I loved that because it just reassured me that I really did this because I like this.
Yes.
I put this music out because I like this vibe. And once I reconnected, I studied in Amsterdam for a semester for that reason. Like in law school, I did a semester abroad in Amsterdam Law School. And I did shows in Berlin, in Madrid, in London, in Paris. And I was just trying to soak up all of that grime energy, UK garage energy, just a different vibe.
Yeah.
Put that into this project. So in terms of rejection, to answer your question, if you know you love what you're doing, someone else will love it. And the other millions of people that you're gonna have to deal with being famous anyway, that's why it's so toxic. Like, they can get to you now with social media. They're gonna tell you they hate you and your song and your dog and your whole family. But if you're cool, that's your best chance of making it through, you know? So, and funny enough, the experimental project I thought wouldn't work, this is the biggest reception I probably got for any product I put out. So that tells you something.
It's a vibe. It's a big vibe,
you know?
Yeah, it's a big. I mean, it's good. I'm so mad that I'm going to say the name wrong of the song, but it's my favorite one. The gun.
It's not a gun.
It's
yes.
Yes. I mean, yes. Everybody go listen to it. It's Not a Gun by DAP The Contract, and then come back and tell me thank you. You're welcome.
Actually, let's jam out a bit.
But good guys love bad guys too. Yeah. But good guys love bad guys too.
I hear you when you say, there's something about trusting your gut, and it's important to just what you like. But still, a critical part of any sort of growth or development in any industry is being able to take feedback. And so when the PR company comes back to you and says, yeah, cute drums, but whatever, how are you able to, for example, how are you able to navigate feedback? Like, how do you say, this I will take, this, whatever? Is there a process you have for filtering through the feedback you get?
Yeah, I'm very intentional about this because, again, if you're confident, you trust yourself, no negative feedback should completely knock you off your square. At least that's how I look at it. So so I'm very, like, every time I let anyone listen to my music or I give them a link, literally, like the other week I gave someone my Instagram, the barbershop. My barber is my guy and he puts me on. So anyone that's in the shop be like, yo, you got to check, he's a lawyer, he's a musician, you got to check his stuff out. Yeah. Every time I give someone my links, I say, if you're going to give me feedback, you have to be honest. If you think it's trash, I expect you to tell me, I don't really like this. That's not for me at all. This is trash. Yeah. I'm not going to go and cry about it. The way I filter it is there's so many variables that we're playing with in life, right? So you telling me you don't like it is a combination of your childhood, what you grew up listening to, what your family listens to, what your friends like, what you think you like versus what you actually like. It's all together. It's an association you're making with another thing you don't like. Maybe these drums remind you of another song that has similar drums that you don't like. Like, maybe the song just isn't good, or maybe you don't like it, right? But I try not to filter anything out just because I'd rather have as much information to work with as possible. So I want all of it. I want you to tell me that it's trash if you think it's trash, as much as I want the person who loves it to tell me how much they love it.
They love it.
Because neither of those is going to change how I feel about the song. It's just going to be more information to play with, like, okay, so this person didn't like that, and I think it's because of this reason. I see they like this kind of clothing, maybe they like this vibe, maybe, okay, this person loves it, and assess this person. This seems to be their vibe. Okay, so now let me try and hit the middle. I'm always trying to bring people together. So let me make something that you think is outlandish and you think is outlandish, but both of you will listen to it and like it, and you can find common ground there. Yeah. That's how I treat it. It's like no feedback is gonna ruin this for me, because like I said, I was waiting for people to destroy Mofejaye in particular, because it was a UK garage song. But I know the space that I wanted to hit with that song. I know the club or the venue I can be in London, in Bristol somewhere, that'll come on and people are gonna be.
But also the position of it on the project is also interesting.
Yeah, it's twice, right?
Yeah.
So it's a live version, and the live version is most people's favorite song on the project. And those people that's their favorite song don't say a word about the garage version.
Because it's interesting, because now that you say that, I think I really focus on the live, because the live is slowed, it's where you're actually singing it. Okay.
It's the same lyrics, same everything, but the bounce is different. So it sounds like some poppy sellout something. But like, I remember being in London skanking away to, that's our vibe. When I get down on my luck, and so. Okay. Yeah.
But I don't even believe in anything being sort of like sellouty, or it just is what it is. Like and I love that you said that. People come to everything with themselves, with all the pieces of themselves and their baggage. And so remembering at the end of the day that this is my work, I'm sharing it with the world, but it's mine. And it's not necessarily for, like, I've done my best work. So however that is received is how it's received. Are you ever hard on yourself?
Very.
Just in terms, yes.
Very.
How do you deal with criticism from yourself? Whether as a lawyer or as all the other things that you are. How do you deal with that?
As a lawyer, I have serious imposter syndrome. Because, and I don't know where it comes from, because I've lived a very privileged life. I've been to amazing schools my whole life. So I don't know what it's rooted in. I think what we've been trained to see as a lawyer, I reject that completely. I don't see myself as that at all. But here I am with 150 of them in the same firm, earning the same salary, right? So it's like, I don't see myself as a musician. I just see myself as me. I do legal work and I make music,
Yeah.
So I'm very hard on myself at the firm. Like, if I don't if someone says thanks Delapo with nothing else in an email, I feel like, oh, I thought we didn't do a good job. Like, but if someone says great, which is a much more than thanks Delapo. If someone says great, I'm like, oh, okay. Or if they say great job, my week is made. But that's a legal thing. In terms of music, shows especially, in my head, I can put on the best show on the planet. But no show is going to be perfect. But every show, I'm expecting it to be perfect. So from the time I get off stage, I'm analyzing at what point did my left foot step in the wrong place that I didn't want it to, or did I kick the mic stand by mistake? I missed this note on this song. Like, every single little piece, I'm extremely hard on myself. Probably hardest on myself when it comes to shows. Creatively, like, once I put out a project, I definitely hear it differently. Like, as soon as I press upload or share the link, I go listen to the project myself, because I feel like I'm listening to it with the world, and it all sounds different. I'm paying more attention to certain things. I'm less critical of myself with that, because I know I still, again, trust that I made what I liked and I put it out like this because I was happy with it, so. But it's hard. Being hard on yourself is those voices in your head. A challenge. It's a challenge.
But DAP, thank you so much for sharing that, because that's it's very critical, right? That idea that you can have all the trappings and all the pillars that should help you stand so unshakably, and still feel imposter syndrome. So thank you for having, for being vulnerable and sharing that, because I think it will really help someone out there who is really like, why do I feel this way when I have the credentials? I obviously deserve to be here. I'm good at what I do. So why these feelings?
Especially
so thanks for sharing
Black
that.
and brown people.
Yeah.
In these corporate spaces.
But thank you for sharing that. I think that, and as someone who works in corporate as well, it's something that I resonate with. And I think my way for it is just always reminding myself that I'm good at what I do and I belong here. And I belong in any space that I say I want to be in. Because again, like you said, I'm me.
Yep.
Right? I'm not Immanuel, the corporate communications. I'm just me. And then everything that I do flows from me. And I'm articulating it this way from a conversation I had with my friend Anyekeme, who's also one of the guests on this show, that everything is you. So whatever flows from you is you, and you are inherently valuable. So thanks for speaking on it in that way. That was fun. Speaking of fun, and I know you enjoy music, so I guess every day is fun for you. Like creating is always fun for you. But when how do you take care of yourself? How do you ensure that you don't lose the wonder? Because whatever you're doing, even when you love it, it's still work. Still work. Still work.
Yeah, and it's hard.
So So how do you ensure that you are, or do you have any practices for ensuring that you're still feeding it the juice it needs?
Yeah, this is a super important thing for me, because I don't think I've ever experienced true writer's block. And I wonder if were I to blow up tomorrow, I would suddenly be so overwhelmed with the situation that I sit down to create and just be blank. I always think if that would happen to me, but I always think it won't happen to me, because I think what keeps me inspired, listening to so much and listening to so many different things. Like I don't run away from rock music. I don't run away from house or folk music. Like when Kanye, Rihanna, and Paul McCartney dropped 4 or 5 seconds from, that's a folk jam. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's acoustic guitar and not much else. Like I'll listen to indie bands in the UK. I'll listen to Australian rap. Like I'll just give everything a chance, because not even that I'll listen to Australian rap and make Australian rap. I might listen to Australian rap and hear one sound and make a jazz standard. You never know where the thread is going to take you. So just being open to all information. All information is hopefully going to be, some of it maybe not, but for the most part, if you can filter it and digest it the right way, it's all useful information. It's more to work with.
Yeah, and because you don't know what's going to resonate, so just being open to it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think also intentionally, like with this project, I went to go seek out that information, that housey EDM vibe, and that's how I made this project. So also like intentionally putting yourself in uncomfortable spaces. So I hated those clubs, and I still kind of I think of and my head is just like, God, get me out of here, please. Like, but look at the project I made, So clearly something in that I can love and I can find an appreciation for. So just intentionally being uncomfortable, I think helps keep me on my toes and makes me like always have that itch, that childish itch in me to like, I can spend 5 hours just making this one beat,
Yeah, I like that. I like the way you said that, being intentionally uncomfortable. I like that. I like that a lot.
In those spaces,
In those spaces. So how do you take care of that? How does that take care of that? Because you're busy. You're busy. You're working today's a Sunday. You're working 8 hours on a Sunday. How do you recharge? Because, and I always say this, we know this, you can't give from an empty cup. So creating and giving us these beautiful music, the beautiful visuals, right?
Yeah.
You need to be full. How do you take care of yourself? What do you do?
Yeah, that's probably for a conversation on being a multi-hyphenate.
Yes.
That's like, yes, it is possible to do both. You don't have to always choose, but it's not negotiable that you're going to have to work crazy, right? So I think this probably the most important part of it, because it's the mental health conversation. And admittedly, I have a long way to go, because clearly this isn't normal. Like and there's no blueprint for me to follow. I know very few people who do, working in corporate and also setting up their own podcast platform like you're doing. People who do working in finance and producing and rapping. There's not a lot of examples or rule books to go with. So I definitely am exhausted a lot.
Yeah.
I my temper flares a lot. You know, unfortunately, those kind of things land on your loved ones, people who are physically around you the most, you know? So I have a long way to go. I'm definitely trying to find a therapist, but my reluctance is, I'm gonna give you that money that I want to be pumping into my music, and it's like,
wow,
you know, look how crazy this is. We're working our asses off to be able to afford the mental health doctor and that's gonna help us stay in the place that's causing it. It's just like, you want me to pay the money I'm earning so I can keep earning this money. Like, it's just all about money always, you know? So I don't know how to navigate the therapy thing, but I think we all, if healthcare was the way it should be, we should all have a physical doctor and a mental health doctor, right? Keep us in check. But yeah, I have a long way to go. I think the intentional thing I try to do is, I love cycling and I love just sitting. I love water, cycling and parks. So I'll just cycle for 30 minutes, listen to either my album or the new J. Cole album that just dropped, or whatever album. I listen to it front to back on my cycle, like a happy little black boy joy. That's my peace.
Black boy joy.
And I'll go to Prospect Park. I live in Brooklyn, and I'll just sit under a tree, take my shoes off, feel my feet on earth, and just sit and do nothing. Just listen to music and just exist for a second. That's how I decompress and unwind. But there's no way to substitute this amount of hours. Like, your mental health is gonna suffer, and you have to really take care of yourself. So it's hard. It's really hard. Like I say on 45, one of my recent songs, I say, I'm going crazy, Lord. I'm calling back. I know I missed your call. Shit, I was sleeping, exhausted out of my mind. Guess it explains why I've been tweaking. Like, that's me all the time. Like, I'm constantly just like, okay, I worked 10 hours at the firm today. It's 10 p.m. Now I have to go respond to all the emails. Okay, I got added this playlist. I need to prepare to post that. Okay, someone wants me to do this show, August. Okay, I got to respond. Yes, this is my tech rider. This is my hospitality rider. Okay, I have to finish my assignment for this guitar class online. Now it's 2 a.m. Okay, I need to sleep, wake up in the morning, try to fit a workout in, and then get to my desk by 9 a.m. to keep doing the assignment that I was doing yesterday. So it's like, there's no way you're not going to get burnt out. So I definitely, and that's the struggle of being a multi-hyphenate.
Multi-hyphenate.
Definitely learn, and that's, I think, with time and just paying attention to it, I'll get better at managing my stress and coping with, you know, this workload. But,
so one, thank you for, again, I'm always, because in a world where it's so easy to just put up facades and hide behind different masks, I'm always just so humbled when anyone shares just honest reflection with me, and of course with everybody else that's going to see this and hear this. So thank you for sharing that. And two, I've asked this question to multi-hyphenates, people who might not even describe themselves as multi-hyphenates, and the answer is still the same, right? We all know we can be doing better at it. We all know that there are gaps. We all know that there is difficulty in this space. So you're not alone. I think that's just always nice to remember. That not nice because we're all not nice because we're all struggling, but nice because it's just part of the human condition to kind of constantly, how do we find that balance where we can be all that we want to be and get there in a way that is healthy and productive, and that we're full. And then third, I think even those pockets of joy, like the bike rides and your feet on the grass in Prospect Park, like those are just amazing. And so to recapture or to refrain, to give back a refrain that you've been, saying throughout this interview, the same way as you spend more time doing, you told us that the more time you spend on anything, the better you get at it. I guess the more time you spend on those bike rides, the more time you just dedicate towards it, the better you get, right? The better we all get at it. So I guess that's for me. I'm taking the message of keep going, just keep doing, and applying it to the conversation around mental health, peace. So that's cool. Okay, so we're about to wrap up. So
I'm not in a rush. I'm loving this conversation. So hey, anything else, I'm here.
Thank you. But but I'm also conscious of the fact that you actually are working for the whole day today.
I'll get it there. I think I got like between 4 and 6 more hours, and then I'm good. I'll be fine.
Random question, DAP. Do you like watch TV shows or listen? Do you like watch TV shows or just do I don't know.
It's no more.
regular.
I try to. Me and my wife try and like watch, like the mindless ones help when I'm just tired from work, like Love Island, The Bachelor, Bachelorette. Like somehow she managed to get me addicted to those shows. But I'm definitely even sometimes while I'm working, I watch interviews because it helps me just zone into what I'm doing, having some background noise. But yeah, I watch TV shows. What's the most interesting recent one? Let me see. Waiting for Insecure and Atlanta to come back.
Look, do you know that Insecure? I don't know what it is, and I think it's the community around Insecure. Insecure it's such a. It feels good in the sort of way that hearing your friend's project feels good to you. So especially when it's so familiar and warm, and then when it's actually good, you're just like, ejected. That's what Insecure feels like to me. And honestly, the reason I asked you this question is because I think sometimes people have this assumption that when you are such a high performer and you do all these great things, that
don't do anything
like
else.
There's no room for levity. And I think no, I think levity is beautiful. I think just relaxing is very necessary, right? It's necessary for the process. And so glad to hear that you love
I play soccer. I'm obsessed. I'm a football obsessed human being. Like I love football as much as music. So I'm waiting for 3 p.m. This England-Italy game is coming. It's coming what? It's coming
home. Even look at us.
Today is going to be a crazy day if they lose.
No.
Oh
look
my God.
Look at us shouting, it's coming home. The
Thank you.
Listen,
coming where? It's coming abroad.
England, when it comes home to you people, send it to us.
Man.
Along with our art and everything.
Don't even get me started, man. I had to study that for a class in law school. That's the art law. Man.
How did we get here? But okay, so when you talked about how your wife has successfully gotten you to watch these shows.
Okay, Dave is another show. Dave is the one we recently. I'm not sure if you watched that show.
Dave, with Lil Dicky. I need to get into that.
It's interesting. I think you'll enjoy it. It's like it's problematic in certain ways, but it feels like it's intentionally trying to start a conversation. It's not done from an ignorant perspective, because some things I'm like, I don't know. But I'm like, I think that was the point. It was supposed to make you uncomfortable, But that one has been really interesting for us. But
if I watch this show and I'm angry, it's your DMs are going to suffer. So that's fine. I know where to find you.
It'll be. I think you'll be curious at least.
Okay. Cool. But I was saying, so your wife, kind of helps get you into these TV shows. You talked about how your parents always told you can do it all, but you're going to have to work. Common theme throughout your life is the theme of support. And I think for every multi-hyphenate, even you who's done, and I just want to take a moment to say, the fact that you've come this far, doing a lot of it by yourself, is inspiring to me. Because even in just building this series and building this platform, and I probably look like I don't know what I look like on camera because my angle is so weird and it's so strange because I have to do this on my phone as opposed to like a proper setup. Mm-hmm. And just producing it is such an experience on its own. And so thinking about the fact that you do all the things you do for yourself, one is inspiring to me to just keep going and to know that it's possible because you do it and you do it so well. But still, even for a person like you who does a lot of it by themselves, support still seems like something I've heard you talk about in different ways throughout. So what does that mean for you, or how have you come to either embrace support? Or is there a tension with embracing support and no, this is my baby? How do you allow yourself to be supported? Let's just talk about that.
Yeah. I love all these questions because this is
Thank you.
I ruminate on these things all the time because they're so important. But the first thing I have to start with my wife, like we've been together 6 years, like
wow.
Everything I said that I've done by myself, she's been right there. From 2015 onwards, 2016 onwards, right? Like video shoots, she's driving. I still don't have my license. It's embarrassing to say, but I can't drive. Imagine my big age. Every time I need to go anywhere, she's driving. All the videos that I said I directed and edited myself, she filmed. She's not a professional videographer. I'm giving her instructions like, Ray, climb to the third step of the ladder and jump across to the table, and then we'll catch the sweeping shot. Like I've told her to do crazy things, and she's just like, you're wilding, but I got you. You're wilding.
Yeah.
Like feeding me. Like I don't have time to cook for myself. I would be all the money I'm making, I'll be spending it ordering food on Seamless and all these. I'll be paying all my money back into the system. Like every piece of it, like I needed the support from her especially, and understanding how crazy I work, and that I'm not always the best husband. I wasn't always the best boyfriend because I'm just tunnel vision, you know. Family, like friends, you can't really get your business off the ground without the people directly around you telling someone, hey, my friend does this, it's really dope, check it out. Like, hey, listen to my boy's music. Yo, we're going to a show, you should come to my homie's show. Like those people put you on, you know. But yeah, that's support system. Like my brother is my biggest everything. I can't even say biggest fan. Like he has got me interviews on channels, television, like on TV stations. He played my music he's older than me, so he has industry friends who are like executives now and different things. He's every time anyone steps into his house, he plays them my music. Anyone his friends I've met, they're like, yo, your brother is so proud of you. Like he plays your music 24/7 for everybody. You don't even understand. Like I've heard this from about 15 different people individually.
Wow.
Like that support system is crucial. It's crucial because you'll go crazy trying to do it yourself. And I always prided myself on being a one-stop shop. Like I can, like, because I can't not do it. I have to figure out a way to do it. So I'll do whatever it takes to figure it out. But yeah, collaboration is important. Interaction with human beings is important, and having support to get you through those low times, that's non-negotiable for sure. Yeah.
So I want to come back to collaboration really quickly, but before we move on, I want to shout out your wife because she's the only person in your support system I've met. What's her name?
Reka.
Okay, Reka.
Rekha. Reka.
Reka. Well, first of all, hi Reka. She was, when I walked up to you at Everyday People, she was right there, and I'm just, like sort of talking really quickly, hi, and she's just looking at me and smiling. And, there was even warmth from her being there that allowed me to feel comfortable to, come over and say something to you. So shout out to you, Reka.
When you walked away, what she said?
What did she say?
She was like, oh, so you famous now? You're a big deal? And I'm just like, shut up, man. Like, so people in the middle of Everyday People, like, is that also that's you? Okay, all right.
Do you like that? What's your relationship with that? With being recognized? I'm just so hyper aware of how dehumanizing fame can be for artists that it's strange. Like when it's good energy, it's good energy. But you're not always in the mood, Yes. I that rarely happens to me. So I love it now because it reminds me that, okay, I'm doing something good. People are noticing. Yes. But when it's one day going to be every time I step outside, that's so I'm trying to figure out how to not get into that situation without being like Daft Punk and wearing a helmet and no one knows my name. Like, but fame is toxic, so it's weird. But when it's love, like it's I want to be one of the artists that says I'll take every picture and I'll do all of that because that might be the person's only time to see you, or you just never know how great that interaction is going to be for both of you. Because I that fed me in that moment. I'm just in the party, like just being me, just in the party, and I reminded like, oh, someone in here might actually know who I am and listen to my music, So I appreciate it still. Of course. So, but I do want to say though, you need to figure out how you're going to embrace fame more because it's coming. It is. I don't you need to begin to think about how you're going to deal with it. Enjoy this because you were out there, just like walking around.
Vibing.
Enjoy it because I don't know. I'm certain it's not going to be for much longer. So enjoy just your freedom right now because it's coming. It's coming.
Chills again. Shit.
No, but fame. But honestly, I think fame can be beautiful, and I think it just becomes like it's really about intention, right? Yeah. It's something you've talked about throughout. It's the intention you put behind it.
Yeah, you can't let it just come and hit you. You have to prepare and keep your mental health
and you're not as, again, you've taken the stairs here. So your personality is already formed. Like I think about like the young, like Justin, you know, I don't want to say anybody's name specifically, but Justin Bieber,
Yeah,
like
the people, the
you're
young
the
ones,
biggest, you are the biggest pop star in the world, and you
15,
don't
16.
know anything about yourself. So I mean, so there is something to be said about taking the stairs and the long-term mentality, so that I think will prepare you for all the fame that is coming your way, sir. So fingers crossed. Okay, so real quick, back to collaboration.
Yeah.
You have a few so a lot of your songs are really just you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had your collaboration with famous Bobson.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Hey.
I heard that. I heard that for the first time yesterday. And I was like, this is really nice. How do you come to collaborations? Like when you are creating with someone? And I mean, even at work, like whatever in all the different
capacity
areas, that you how do you come to collaborations and how do you assess them? Just what are your thoughts on collaboration and in helping you achieve your goals or your visions?
Yeah, I think it's important to start by saying it took me a long time. Because like you said, I preferred to do everything myself because I felt like my brain is ticking so quickly that I'm going to get frustrated with any delays. So if I'm trying to put out a song and I have to wait for your feature or wait for your engineer to mix it or wait for you to respond to my message, I just get pissed off quickly because I'm like, bruh, I'm trying to go yesterday.
Yes,
you know? So
yes.
I did a lot by myself because I just felt like I know how to get it done. So let me just do it instead of trying to ask anybody else, right? As you get older, you start to wise up a bit. You realize that collaboration is important for learning, for that exchange of energy, for sharing fans, like for so many different reasons. Your perspective changes hearing someone else's perspective or way of doing things, or there's this way they record in the studio, all these little things. Excuse me. So with music, let me start with music. In terms of collaborating, I try to not collaborate to someone because they have more followers or I know their manager knows the playlist or whatever it is. I try to just think like, send me the song. Do I like the song? And do I have the time for this? The time component is where I'm like, okay, if you have, say, less followers than me and I don't really love the song, maybe this is one I should sit out, you know? But if you have less followers than me and I love the song, I'm going to do it because it's about music for me. If you have more followers than me and I'm not crazy about the song, but I see how this can be productive and it's still music to me. It's not a reach for me to jump on this song. If you wanted me on the song, I'll do it. You know, and I'll put my best foot forward and it'll be productive for both of us. That's on a practical sense, that's how I approach like choosing which collaborations to do. That one in particular with Bobson, he just DM'd me randomly. It was like, guy, I love your music. Like, let's work. Go on this page. I'm like, oh, this dope. I like the sound. I like his sound. I heard his song with Santi a while ago already. It's got a good following. Okay, cool. I was like, bro, I'm ready. Like, send me stuff. I'll send you stuff. I happened to make that beat and send that to him because I already had that in the stash. So I'm like, this will be perfect for him. And that's how that one happened. Never met, spoken on Instagram, voice memos back and forth, not even on the phone, no FaceTime, nothing. But I know when we meet, we'll click and we'll be cool, probably make better stuff.
You still haven't met?
Never met, ever.
Oh, wow.
Never had a conversation on the phone even, you know, but that energy is there because he liked this. As soon as I sent him the song, he already knew
where to go,
why, you know, and he sent it back perfect. I had like few changes or any feedback, you know, and he sent it back to me. So
that's nice.
Yeah, that's on a practical sense. Like legally collaborating, the imposter syndrome comes back because I feel if someone, I hate when people are condescending. That's probably my biggest pet peeve in life. So on top of the imposter syndrome I have being in this corporate space, if you make me feel like I'm stupid because I did something wrong, when I'm not supposed to be able to do this perfectly because I just started working here. If you don't give me that grace, I get irritated quickly. And I might not show it because professional space and blah, blah, but you know, I find collaborating difficult sometimes, but in that sense. But if it's someone who's giving me the time to learn and grow and stuff, like I'm there now where I understand that it's way more valuable to put heads together than to just be tunnel vision. I'll do it myself. So it's easier now in the work setting, but
it's difficult. You know something that helps me, you know, like especially in like work corporate settings is I pause a lot now. Like when things happen, I pause. Like I would get up from my seat and I would just take a moment. And I think, especially when people try to be condescending, and I remind myself, one, there is no crime in never not knowing anything. Nobody gets to where they are by, nobody came out into the world fully knowledgeable about everything. And it's okay to ask questions as long as you're respectful and you are teachable and you are not making the same mistakes over and over again.
Exactly.
Not knowing is not a crime. And I just kind of, I pause and I remind myself that in that moment, that person's condescension is more about them than it is about me. And it has nothing to do with me. Or like Dr. Maya Angelou said to Oprah Winfrey once, when Oprah was being like, she felt like people were coming at her. And, Maya Angelou said, you ain't in it. You're not in it. It's not about you. You are not in it. So removing myself from the equation, like, this is not about me. You being condescending is your way of reminding yourself of whatever grandeur you aspire to.
It's a reflection.
It's a reflection of you. So I'm not in it. And I take myself out of it. That's how I.
That's powerful. I needed to hear that. Remember
I'm not in it. And I just like, okay, cool. All right. So I have a question. So after 2020, I have a question. I've been asking questions for an hour and I'm like, I have a question. After 2020, the concept of time, my relationship with time has changed a lot.
Same.
One, in terms of just like the urgency of now, but also just in terms of the fact that nothing is set in stone. And, time is so moving that it's so flexible and it's so, but just time. I think about time a lot. And I woke up this morning to the unfortunate and to the really sad news that Sound Sultan has passed.
Rest in peace. Yeah, so that's
and I remember just being so I was so gutted by it because, and for those who are listening who don't know, Sound Sultan is really just a Nigerian musical legend. In terms of, like DAP, so like we're talking lyricism, like actual penmanship, storytelling. Sound Sultan was really just in a league of his own. And just how his music had this quality of being so evergreen. Like I went to listen to Area and Mathematics, and I was just so floored by just how timely and how evergreen it feels. Like music that feels like it was baked this morning. And he passed, and it's so interesting because either earlier this year or late last year, earlier this year, I literally put on my Instagram stories, I don't know what I was listening to from Sound Sultan, and I said, I really hope this is the year that Sound Sultan gets all his flowers.
Oh, man.
I actually, and I went into my like highlights to try to look, how you can look on Instagram to see your old stories. I couldn't find it, but I posted that this year. I hope this is the year that Sound Sultan gets all his flowers. And he's gone now. He's gone. And so when we think about time and just the impact you have in the world, how do you hope, and not to be morbid or anything, but how do you hope that you are able, what legacy do you hope to leave behind? Because really we have no idea. Yeah. Again, Dr. Maya Angelou, said to Oprah, again, you have no idea what your legacy will be. We have no idea what our legacies will be, but what would you hope that people say when they speak about you in the world?
If I could boil it down to a couple words, that's probably the easiest way to articulate the energy I hope is associated with me.
Yes.
It would be love, the first thing. Yes. I hope that people realize that I did this out of love and I was trying to put positive energy out there intentionally. I was trying to help, whether it's by inspiring, by giving information that I was privileged to have that others don't. Helping people find something they can relate to, that they can associate with, good and bad times. Like a sad song, like gives you comfort because, okay, I feel like you feel what I'm going through. Yeah. Or in the good times also. So I start with love. Second thing is the truth. Ooh. That's a very important thing for me because I just don't, there's no value in a facade, in confusion, in a gimmick. Like, I feel like I'm telling my story, the good and the bad, the strange parts of it, the cool parts of it, all of it together is me. I'm here one time, I have one chance to do this life thing.
Yeah.
So sugarcoating it and trying to show you something else is I don't have time. Literally, I don't have time to be faking it. like the truth. I hope people realize that I'm being for real.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my vulnerabilities. I'll tell you that I'm not perfect and I need a therapist, and I'm trying to, my mental health is a constant work, as it is for as it should be for everyone, right? Maybe from a more zooming out a little bit, if I can maybe elaborate a bit more, my legacy, I want people to realize that you doing it your own way, no matter how long it takes, is meaningful in a different way. I don't want to say more meaningful because it's different for everyone, but it's meaningful in a different way than cutting corners and getting to the top quickly. So I say that to say caring about ownership and of my masters in publishing and other rights, and being an independent artist for as long as I could be before taking that leap and partnering with another entity. All of those things, I did them intentionally because it mattered to me to do it this way. I wanted to arrive at my destination with a certain resume, with certain particular things on that resume. So doing things a way that people are like, why are you still in school? You should have dropped out of school a long time ago. I know you can blow. Like, if you're putting all this time studying into making music, you'd have blown like, cool. But I had to do it this way for a reason. Trusting myself, trusting my gut. It was intentional. This Sunday afternoon work sucks, but it's intentional. And I guess the last thing, which sums everything up, and it's probably even the main theme of this whole conversation, don't quit. Don't quit. I meet so many people who played violin when they were younger and they hated it and they never stop, and then they say, oh, I wish I did. As soon as I hear I wish, I'm like, all you had to do was not stop. But that's just a small way of saying it, because maybe violin wasn't for you. You were supposed to quit that. But the things you really love and you're really passionate about and give you more joy than anything else in your life, do not stop. I hope that's, if nothing else, you remember that it's not even just forget 10,000 hours. It's been my mantra for so long. Like, let's talk about 20, let's talk about 30. Like, master that thing and enjoy it fully. If you find something else that has that same itch, master that. Start from 0 and work, get to 10,000, go beyond 10,000, master it, and move through life doing and mastering things that actually give you joy and fulfillment. That's what I hope I leave behind whenever I leave this space.
Whew. Well, DAP, I've known you for like 0.2 seconds. And
now we're family now, man.
Now we are.
Listen, from EP to this conversation, listen.
Yes.
It's DAP now.
It's DAP, recognized, okay? But really and truly though, even in this, I feel all those things that I just want to say, you are on the right path to leaving that legacy behind.
Thank you.
The kindness that and the honesty and the vulnerability and just the power of being able to stand in your fullness as a human being in all its complexity, with the highs, the lows, the peaks, the valleys. You are well on your way to leaving that legacy behind. And just, I feel so much more educated, even just about thinking critically about what the process is that I try to map out for myself, right? So yeah, I think you're well on your way to building that legacy. So if this means anything,
that means a lot.
You're on your way. All right, so we're about to wrap up. So about to wrap up. Let me see. What do I want you to do? Oh yeah, this is something I'm going to start doing. Say to the people what all your hyphens are. So if you were to say, my name is DAP and I am a da, what would it be? Let's go.
Okay, so my name is DAP and I am a classical pianist.
Yes.
A football, open brackets, soccer, close brackets, fanatic.
Bossa.
Where I want to go next? Okay. I'm a producer, rapper, singer, and videographer. I've earned that now.
Yes.
I'm also a lawyer, to be more specific, hoping to be a specifically entertainment and IP lawyer.
Let's go.
What else? Okay. Today, what's other hyphen? Because I know the one I want to end with. Let's make sure I don't miss anything.
Okay, yeah. Let's see.
Okay. I guess I'm a leader.
Yeah.
I don't usually say that, but I think that's an important thing to claim because a lot of us don't want to claim it because we don't want the wahala. It's the same way artists don't want to be mentors or anybody's. What's the word that artists always shy from? Is it mentor or
mentor? Then the protege is the person under the
not an idol. I don't want to be a what's the word? I don't know.
A role model.
Role model. Don't want to run away from that. So I'll say leader. And the most important, I think, I'm going to say at the end is a husband. And that sounds so powerful. That's crazy to even come out of my mouth. But that's my newest hyphen.
Oh, your wife is going to be very pleased with that.
Better be. Damn. You famous now? Okay.
You're also a son and a brother before you became a husband.
Absolutely.
But yeah, wow. Okay. Well, DAP, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you. This was very enriching for me, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a great way to start my Sunday. To tell the people where to find you, or what to look out for from you.
Yeah. So on all social medias, I'm at DAP The Contract, at DAP The Contract, all one word. That's Twitter, Instagram, etc. What to look out for. I just put out a project on July 2nd. I'm extremely proud of because I know I love that project and I think it's showing in the reception. It's called Powers Volume 2. I have a bunch of shows coming up, seeing as we're all outside, supposedly.
We outside.
Coming back to it slowly. I'm definitely planning a bunch of shows and I have a bunch of visuals in the stash that I've been very quiet and coy about, but I'm excited to drop off of Volume 2. And I'm still working on some more of the songs that I hadn't been able to shoot visuals for yet. So videos and shows, and hopefully in a year or two's time, it'll be time to have a proper conversation about a full-length album. But we'll get there when we get there. Yeah. So right now is Powers Volume 2.
Yes. And DAP, this is the first of many conversations. I feel like we're going to have conversations on several stages at several points of your career throughout.
Absolutely. And yours. And it's going to get bigger and bigger. And this platform is going to get built into a team and a network, and it's going to keep going.
Amen. And I'm so glad that we did this. And thank you. Thank you for the generosity of your time, for your honesty, and just for being here. And thank you for being who you are because, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Everybody, 3 busa for DAP. Busa. Thank you. Thank you so much, my guy.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
The Multi-Hyphenates with Immanuel podcast is executive produced and produced by me, Immanuel Umoren. Oyinkansola Aderele is our consulting producer and editor. Special thanks to DAP The Contract for all the music featured in this episode. The first being his track, No Talking, and the second, which is a personal favorite of mine, It's Not a Gun, from his new project, Powers Volume 2. Go listen, check them out,